Donald Trump and his stooge judge Eileen Cannon are being called out before the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals for trying to destroy Volume 2 of Special Counsel Jack Smith's report in connection with his criminal prosecutions of Donald Trump. One, of course, involved Trump's conduct relating to the January 6th insurrection. That's Volume 1. Volume 2 relates to Donald Trump taking highly classified and sensitive information, like potentially nuclear secrets, and hiding it at Mar-a-Lago and then obstructing justice. That was the criminal case before Judge Eileen Cannon. You'll recall that she dismissed the case on some frivolous basis, saying that the special counsel is unconstitutional. She was the only judge to ever make that type of ruling. And then after Trump won the election, the appeals in that matter were essentially mooted. But the only issue remaining before Judge Cannon, and that has been remaining, is because all of the files and documents regarding the Mar-a-Lago document case were before her, she just needs to basically issue a release of the documents, specifically Special Counsel Jack Smith's report, Volume 2, which lays out the special counsel's findings regarding the crimes that Donald Trump was being prosecuted for. But you see, what Judge Cannon did for over a year was do nothing. After Donald Trump won the election, she refused to make any rulings at all, especially while the DOJ switched over from the Biden DOJ to the Trump DOJ. She took no action. And because she took so long to do anything, where she was supposed to make some ruling one way or another regarding the report prepared by Special Counsel Jack Smith, the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals had to actually intervene. That's the circuit court that oversees the Southern District of Florida court. Cannon's in the Fort Pierce division. And they said, Cannon, you've got to make a ruling one way or another regarding this report so it can come back to us and we can decide what happens with the report. In any circumstance, this report should be released. This isn't a controversial topic. You know, special counsel reports are released. If there's highly classified information in the report, that gets redacted. We know all about redactions right now, but then that should be released to the public. And so after the 11th Circuit made that ruling, Judge Eileen Cannon set an elongated briefing schedule to try to delay even more and push this into like January and February of 2026. And then so what happened was Donald Trump, in his private capacity, said these documents that come from Jack Smith, they should be destroyed. And then Walt Nauta, the other defender, remember Nauta was involved in that one, he said not only should the documents be suppressed, they need Jack Smith's report and all of the documents, they need to be burned. They need to be incinerated. I kid you not. They said order that it be destroyed. And then the Department of Justice, which is supposed to be justice, is the one supposed to say, you know what, these documents by law are required to be released with proper redactions. But here, because the DOJ, as you now know, has no credibility at all, and it's just an arm of Trump's fascism, they basically said, we agree, we basically join, right? The DOJ is supposed to be on one side of the V and the criminal defendant on the other. They're like, no, we agree. Do whatever you want, Judge. We're not opposing what Trump and Nauta want. Destroy, it's fine. So then this group called the Knight First Amendment Institute, they're a group at Columbia University, they then tried to intervene representing the public before Judge Eileen Cannon. And they did a petition saying, look, Judge, if you're going to adjudicate this and you rule in favor of Trump and the DOJ to destroy this, there hasn't been any opposition because Trump and the DOJ are now both the bad guys. So there needs to be some just stay the destruction of the documents in the report. So at least the 11th Circuit Court of Appeals can weigh in, because even though the 11th Circuit tends to skew more conservative, more right-leaning, nobody would say destroy these records. But what happens if the district court orders the immediate burning and destruction? The DOJ has it. So imagine you have Cannon issues an order, and immediately the DOJ is ready to hit delete They destroy it. And then when the 11th Circuit finally says, actually, we want to intervene here, then the DOJ says, it's moot. We just followed the judge's order and we hit destroy right away. So this is an extraordinary petition, where as a law professor, this intrigues me, and as someone who cares about our country and transparency, it's critical, but you don't see things like this ever filed. So when I'm looking at it, I'm like, oh, this is an interesting argument because this never had to be done. Normally the DOJ would be the one saying, release it. Of course, release it. That's what the law requires you to do. So here, this group they do great work, the First Amendment Institute at Columbia University. They've said, look, we reached out to Judge Cannon. She's ignoring our petition to intervene. So we haven't got a ruling there. She's doing the canon. And we're really worried that what's about to happen, 11th Circuit, is she's going to make this order, destroy the records, destroy the documents. And so we want to put this on your radar. And I think what they want to do via this mandamus process, which again is extraordinary, and there's not a lot of precedent for even doing something like this. But I think what they want to at least put on the 11th Circuit's radar is for them, even sua sponte, meaning on their own initiative, take the extraordinary relief and just say something like, even though you may not have standing right now, hey, Judge Cannon, don't destroy. No, it's our understanding that any destruction would be illegal. Get the 11th Circuit to do something here, put it on their radar and hope they say something. Because it's a tough argument to appeal something where your petition has not been ruled on yet, because what's the basis of appellate jurisdiction when the underlying judge hasn't yet ruled? But here, they're saying Judge Cannon's doing this intentionally as part of a scheme with Trump, and that's why you were involved before 11th Circuit. Do something. Harry, this is quite extraordinary. Let's call in Harry Litman from the Talking Feds YouTube channel, Talking Feds podcast, and Talking Feds Substack. Right, Harry? This is, an extraordinary thing, and I think it's the right move. I think we can debate whether they have standing to make this appeal, and that's it. But the 11th Circuit, hello, 11th Circuit, you got to